Happy Mother's Day! If you're watching this and it's not Mother's Day, it's because you're watching it in the future and it's just not Mother's Day. But today, when I'm filming it and the people are going to see it today, Happy Mother's Day! How are all my Film Club people doing? It's me again, Carson, doing a review of our movie that we watched this week. It's one of my mother's very favorite films. It's part of why I wanted to pick it this week, but we watched The Age of Innocence, Martin Scorsese's early 90s romantic venture. Yeah, I mean, kind of easy way to start is that it's not your typical Scorsese movie, that's for sure. He made a name for himself doing a lot of gangster pictures. You know, obviously Goodfellas, Taxi Driver, The Departed, The Irishman. There's a lot. So it is kind of interesting to look at these two different Scorseses. There's this guy who has a very clear-cut genre style of filmmaking, and then he has this other side to his artistry where he kind of will contemplate religion. I've not seen Kundun. I'm not even sure I'm saying that correctly, but it's about the Dalai Lama. Not too long ago, he made the film Silence about missionaries in Japan. He made The Last Temptation of Christ. He made this film, The Age of Innocence. And it is kind of fun to navigate these two lanes within his canon. But it's fun being able to notice, especially just right out the gate, right in the first scene of this movie, we're at the opera. And there are so many Scorsese techniques on display in this scene. You got the long takes. There's that great shot of Richard E. Grant kind of looking at the audience with his binoculars, and it's just that all the different people down there. It almost reminds me of like a section of Moulin Rouge or something. It's just all over the place. The camera work in that first opening opera sequence is incredible. But yeah, for those that don't know, this is based off of a book, an Edith Wharton novel. I have not read the novel, but it is a piece of literature from the 1920s, I want to say, maybe a little earlier than that. But we follow Newland Archer, played beautifully by Daniel Day-Lewis. God, isn't he good? Daniel Day-Lewis is always good. It's kind of cool, too, in that little window in the 90s where they really tried to make a romantic lead out of him. And for a lot of people, very successfully. Last of the Mohicans, this film. But it's that later work, you know, come on. There Will Be Blood, Lincoln, the stuff they kept giving him statues for. But yeah, we're dealing with Daniel Day-Lewis, and he is getting engaged to the young and beautiful Winona Ryder, who was nominated for an Oscar for this film. Go Winona. And it's all kind of thrown to the wind when Michelle Pfeiffer shows up, who is the disgraced, almost divorcee Countess Olenska is her name. And she just comes and throws a wrench in the gears for our poor Newland Archer, who we then follow for years and years and years as we see numerous times where their potentiality for romance is thwarted by society, ritual, tradition, and honor. So, you know, just those little guys. This is a kind of tricky romance for me, personally. The first time I ever came into contact with this film, I was in high school, and I was already becoming a little film buff and trying to watch as much as I could. And I had watched Taxi Driver and Goodfellas, and my mom was like, you know, there's a Scorsese movie that you haven't seen that's really good. It's called Age of Innocence. And so we threw it on, and for whatever reason, at that time, I thought it was long and boring, and I wasn't in the mood. And so I never really tried again until this week. And I must say, I was wrong. It's not my favorite romance ever. It's not my favorite Scorsese by any means. But there is something really wonderful about it. There's something nice about getting to see and spend this time in New York at a time that I'm not very familiar with. There's a couple shots where we'll be at somebody's lavish mansion and cut to outside, and it's in the middle of nowhere. But it's in Manhattan. It's uptown Manhattan, but the look of it is just mansion. Sorry, Groot. Man, he always shows up for these, and I never treat him right. I'm sorry, buddy. We got to get you your own show. But yeah, the attention to detail, the shot composition in all of this throughout the whole film, it does kind of feel sometimes too, and I'm not the first to say this, but it does kind of feel like Scorsese being a little bit more working class Italian-American immigrant, and we've seen his other films that kind of show that lifestyle, Mean Streets and all that. So to watch him kind of take the reins on this very high society, almost Jane Austen novel adaptation, it does seem sometimes like he's peering in through the window, like he's not supposed to be here. Like any second, he's gonna get kicked out. Him and his buddies are gonna get kicked out because they don't belong. Why are you taking pictures of all the china and all the food? So it is funny, like as much as he is trying and does do a very good job of showing us what this lifestyle is like, it also does have this very clear essence of an outsider looking in. And we are very much the outsiders looking in. We are so far removed from these traditions in many cases in American society. Partly why I mentioned earlier this is kind of a hard romance for me is there's really not a lot of payoff. And if you've seen the film, you know, there's not a lot of payoff because at the time everything was so stuffy and stuffed up and everything had to be so perfect that when you want the heated, passionate exchange of a fiery kiss or ripping each other's clothes off, you don't get that. The most you're gonna get is an unbuttoning of a glove and a kiss on the wrist. However, though I did have to kind of imbue a little bit more passion for myself just to kind of be like, oh yeah, okay, I get it. But within the confines of what we were dealing with and respecting the traditions of the time, Marty put together a pretty sexy scene of a glove being unbuttoned and a kiss on the wrist and a stolen kiss in the back of a carriage. These moments become very important. As we get to, oh my God, how have I not mentioned this yet? The paintings. The paintings. I watched an interview with Marty about it, and there were some like 500 painting recreations done for the film. I'm assuming it would probably just be too expensive to get the real thing and probably just too dangerous to have them on set in such a vulnerable position. But there are 500 freaking paintings in this movie. And one of the greatest sequences in the whole film, we show Newland and May, Winona Ryder's character, on their honeymoon. And instead of showing B-roll of France and London, we just do these kind of panning, tracking shots upon some paintings that show us this area from the time. So it does have that lovely narration by Joanne Woodward over it. What did you think of the narration, by the way? Did you like it? Did you not like it? I kind of took it as Edith Wharton speaking. I do believe that those chunks of narration are stripped straight from the novel. So it is kind of nice having this, this middle-aged woman's voice telling us a little bit about the story. And it just kind of grounds it in this, I don't know, a little bit more traditional sense. There was a little bit more respect, I guess, given to the words of the book, because a lot of times poetry is hard to depict through images. Obviously, some of it done better than others, and that's why it's so beautiful when it's done well. The natural lighting throughout this film, very Barry Lyndon. There's that one scene around a dining room table where there's two candles, like kind of bookending everyone's face. And you can see the light and the shadow, and I'm like, I don't know if there's any other light happening in this room. I'm pretty sure it's the fireplace and those candles. And so that was also another thing that kind of, it's tricky as fuck, pardon the French, to achieve that with a camera. And it's happening constantly through the movie. So hats off to my man Martin Scorsese for that. Loved his little cameo too. He's got his little cameo. I don't know if he always does it, but when he does, it's always nice to spot. He's that little portrait photographer in that one little scene there. Hello, New York. You can hear some sirens out there. But yeah, it's such a great romantic film. Some just gorgeous shots. Of course, there's that sunset where he's waiting for her to turn around at the pier. It is such a beautifully romantic film. If you're in the mood for something like that and you've never watched this, throw it on for sure. It's very good. It's just hard. It's hard to categorize because I had to tell myself while watching it, like, you can't just sit here and try to figure out where it stacks up in Scorsese's filmography. That's not fair to the film. So is it one of my favorite Scorsese movies? No. Is it one of my favorite romance films, period dramas from the 90s? Yeah, it is. So, you know, when you're grading on different scales, you can get different things. If I was just gonna say out of Scorsese's movies, it's probably like number 9, 10, somewhere down there. But that's just a testament to how good the guy is. So yeah, I hope you got a chance to watch it. And if you didn't this week, I didn't give away any spoilers or anything, so go ahead and watch it and let me know what you think. Yeah, we'll have a new pick out again tomorrow. I like putting these things out on Sunday and getting the new pick out on Monday so that everybody has a nice long week to kind of find the right time for themselves to watch. But we're gonna keep on moving, and we'll keep on watching stuff. So of course, send me any recommendations of things you may want to watch. If you want to take a look at some of the things that we've watched previously and you are on Letterboxd, go ahead and look me up, Carson Higgins. I'm on there, and there's a nice list of all the things that we've watched in chronological order. Wow, chronological order. Why is that hard to say? But yeah, so if you want to take a little peruse and find something that maybe speaks to you or something you've been meaning to watch, go ahead, check it out. Let me know what you think. But yeah, signing off. Love you. Happy Mother's Day again. Love you, Ma. Thanks for bringing me here. I like this world. Love you guys.